First of all, it's my pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be in Indonesia for such an ambitious project. I'm going to speak about the digitalization and how we can unlock it and develop its potential, particularly in a country which has an important need of modernization, electrification, and increasing the capacity. So the picture here, it's in circles. So this is showing the transformation of the value chain of energy, which was initially linear. We produce power, we transport it, we distribute it, we provide it to the customers, and that was only one way. We didn't need to have another way. We needed only to have one, and the customer gets what is being provided to him. Now the picture has changed. It has changed because the energy mix also changed, because we have part of it which is renewables, because we have some objectives of energy efficiency, which means we have to interact with the customers to know the demand, to match it with the capacity. It becomes like an internet hub. We call it Internet of Energy. That was the name of that program, for example, in Germany, initially called e-energy, because we need to have the data collected from the overall infrastructure, from the plants, from the networks, from the equipments at homes, home technologies, and we need to bring all this data and be capable then to predict what could be the generation from where, to provide to the customers the cheapest, the closest, and the cleanest energy to them. So we have a big transformation going on, which is coming from that energy mix, decarbonization. We have also on the other side aging infrastructure. We have fluctuation of the prices, but the prices should go down the more we modernize and the more we diversify, because a lot of the renewables energy will provide electricity which is cheaper. And then we have the objective of energy emissions. Then on the other side, we have innovation. You know that every month there is a London which is being created in the world. So today we have a bit more than 50% of the world who lives in cities, and by 2050 we will have almost 70% living in cities. 66% exactly. We have the COP21 which was signed, so that means there are obligations for the countries to respect it in terms of reducing the emissions and reducing the risk of heating of the climate. We have a social impact. Whatever we do should be for the benefits of the society, the benefits of the consumers, of the citizens at the end. And then we have a big need of electrification. There will be 400 million of electrical vehicles, for example, by 2030, and we need also to deal with that connectivity to the electrical vehicles. And of course, the transportation plays an important role. 30% of the emissions would come from the transportation. Now, what we did at GE, we said, look, we have a history in equipments, in machines. We have hardware everywhere. We have also a history on services, because once you put in place, for example, a plant or infrastructure, you need to deliver services on that. We have also a history in software. We did have, for a long time, software provided on the network and provided on the electricity value network. Now, we have the digitalization. Digitalization, it doesn't mean IT. A lot of companies have already IT. It means that we are leveraging what's new. What's new is the capacity to collect a big number of data through sensors, for example. We are leveraging the speed of communication of the networks. Today we are talking about 5G. We are also leveraging the development of the solutions that could be hosted, for instance. So all of that, plus the predictive models, is the new opportunities that digitalization provides, and what we are doing is we are leveraging that to provide better services and better performance on the market. So we come from a tradition, we come from a know-how that we have for the last 125 years, and then on top of that we are adding new technologies to deliver new services. What we did is we did it first of all for us. So GE looked at 250 million hours of data, and we collected that from all the equipments in our manufacturing, in our field equipments as well. And from there we said, how are we going to improve our performance? We actually made 700 million of savings from the digitalization of ourselves. GE digitalizing GE, eating our own food. And then we said, if that works for us, why not doing the same for the market, for our utilities, energy customers. And then we said, look, the best way to do it is, first of all, there is a need. Only 2% of the data collected is being analyzed, only 2%. So that means 98% is untapped. It doesn't mean we need to analyze the 98%, but it means there is a space and we can analyze more. Also, we have 1 million of assets connected today. In 2020, we will have 7 billion. So then there is a space to collect the data. The way we would do it is like, let me take the example of an airplane, a plane. So a plane today, since it's very critical, we follow the whole life cycle of the plane since its design to its manufacturing, what happens in the plant, and then when it starts flying. The whole history of the plane is known. In which countries did it fly, who did the maintenance, we trace everything, in which weather conditions, what kind of problems, everything is documented electronically. That whatever happens, we can understand, whether there is a risk and that plane have a risk and what's the end of life cycle of the plane. Exactly, we want to do the same thing for the equipment. We want to have a twin image of the equipment from the moment they are designed to the moment they are manufactured to then when they are in operations and we do the maintenance on them. This is the digital twin, the mirror image of these equipments. So that means with the predictive models that we have, when we predict, for example, that the end of life cycle of a transformer is in 170 days, then the reality will be so close to that. And this is what the models and what the digital will tell us. This is our objective. So if I take the example of cars, I spoke about the planes. Today, you don't buy a car and then you buy digital on top of it. You buy a car, right? So it was mechanical. Today, it's all embedded with all the electronics, the sensors, and so on. Maybe sometimes it doesn't have a GPS. You can add a GPS, but it's not like the native one. But what I'm talking about digitalization is the 100 different software you have embedded in the mechanics of the car, plus all the sensors for the security, and they come all together. And this is how the industry will look like. The industrialization with digital will be embedded. It's not something like a paper you add on top of it. So we said we have all the infrastructure across the whole value chain, from power generation, whether it's steam or gas or nuclear or renewables, and the infrastructure of transmission, and down to the prosumer. We take it into a platform. We don't care how is it called, but we call it predicts, which means predictions, capable then to do predictive analytics. And at the end, what we care about is the services that are delivered. So looking at a plant, for instance, as a white box, we look at the different assets, equipments there, and then we are interested in how to make them more reliable for better maintenance by doing predictive maintenance. Then we look at the plant as a black box, and we say how the overall plant should be more performant in terms of output, in terms of productivity, in terms of cost and overall operations. And this is what we call optimizations of the operations. And the top level is the profitability. And this is when we link that overall picture we have on the plant with trading systems, the overall finance calculations, the integration with ERP, or the overall integration across the energy value chain with forecasting and matching that with the demand. So this is the overall picture. The digital worker plays an important role there, as well as the customer, where we would be able then to manage as well the customers as prosumers, particularly when they are producing their own energy. The digital worker is related to an acquisition, one of many we have done, which is called ServiceMax. So we are capable to run the whole CRM services, customer relationship management services, scheduling of the workforce, and dispatching of the workforce. So this is more in detail. So the reliability is very important in the asset performance management, which is at the asset level, the asset strategy optimization, and the overall health and safety, which is what we call compliance and integrity management. And we are also capable to give the overall asset health of the equipment. Second level is more getting into outage planning, microgrid management when it comes to the grid, and operational optimization. and plant optimization, and the top level is dealing with the whole finance aspects, trading aspect, and the electricity value network. Now, if I come back to that picture, today we manage with our digital technology 167 gigawatts, which is more than 3 times the overall capacity of power produced in Indonesia. We have converted so far 20% of our customers in power digital and power to digital today, which is already in a short time frame is good performance. Now, what we would like to do in Indonesia is a mini Atlanta. Atlanta is what we have, where we monitor and we make the diagnosis of 820 plants in the world. We cover about 5,000 assets that we monitor 24/7 and about 2,500 gas turbines, generators, and steam turbine generators. So 60,000 cases that we capture. It's a lot of learning for us, and this is what helps us when we calculate the performance and we go and we say, look, we will be having a skin in the game, and we will be then looking at the outcome of the projects we are doing. In total, $250 million of failures prevented in the last 2 years. That was partially presented before by the other speaker. For us, the machines are extremely important. Why? Because the machines can make it simple for the human being. And because we want as well to provide the new opportunities for people. So for us is people will have very interesting jobs. Will have more and more interesting jobs. So we have seen it in countries that are quite automated, who have put in place a lot of IT and modernization, and still they are creating a lot of jobs. Germany, for example, 80 or 90% of the country has implemented advanced software for automation, but still they are among the best in Europe, for example, in creating jobs. So we are transforming jobs and creating more intelligent jobs. And what's important is the knowledge management. We would like to develop kind of a competence center where there are learnings from the alerts, learning from the area of digitalization, from the predictive maintenance, from the overall predictive analytics. And this knowledge management should be done for the interest of the country and should be expanded in the overall energy sector and even beyond. So what we are doing here, and we will have something like a monitoring and diagnosis center at the beginning of that center with some data that will give us some results in October. That's good, that's quite fast. We have done it already in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is also very sensitive to security, to the privacy, and we have created a generation optimization center there. Between September and October, there was nothing, and we have everybody happy and laughing because they are sitting in that monitoring center. The difference that GE has with other providers is, first of all, the fact that we take outcome as a service. It's not only a subscription service that you buy from GE, it's the fact that we say, look, part of that deal, the agreement we have is we take a commitment on the performance. So a number of KPIs we have defined for today and for tomorrow as a roadmap, like for example, startup fuel minus 5% and in the future will be minus 10. An example is Hupco in Pakistan, where we have calculated $200 million of fuel savings, and then Borgais Energy in Ireland, where we have calculated 1.2 million euro savings from avoided outages. There is a number of benefits that we have achieved with a lot of customers, including some of them like Exelon, with whom we have outcome as a service, PSEG. It's about improving the outcome, like 2 to 3% for NRG, and improving also the accuracy and the increase of generation potential, like with Exelon, and that represented about $28 million. Now, you have seen that picture. It's a beginning, and this is at the beginning covering 7 generation units and about 27 sites. What we would like is to take these positive numbers and the learnings we have from the assessment of these different sites, and we want to expanded, that the whole country can benefit from these results. You have seen already a lot of numbers from my colleague before. At the end, we believe that that will represent like $1 billion per year. Probably 2/3 of that would be in the power area, the power capacity, power generation area, and the rest would be from the rest of the infrastructure like transmission and distribution. I think the number before was presented like, yeah, we can have like -3% of losses reduced. Here we said we were a bit conservative, -2%, but there is also a lot of non-technical losses that we can reduce, and there is a lot of savings behind that. Now, the big number for us is, by the digitalization, we believe 1.3 trillion will be the value for the economy, and about 2 trillion will be the value for the society, and here is the aggregation and how we decline it between assets and customer-related value. At the end, our focus is not only on machines, our focus is to make things smarter and to put the complexity in the machines and to learn and understand how they work and improve them, because we want at the end to provide value for the people, for the users, for the human beings, for the society. So together there is today an important pool of energy resources. A lot of that is not exploited yet, but we believe that Indonesia is capable to exploit them fully thanks to the digital energy. I think with the digital energy and what we can do with it, particularly all the predictive analytics and preventing things, the sky has no limit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pa Maher, and thank you, Pa Henry, for a very comprehensive presentation. I know we are trying to do this with a very limited time, and the organizers have told me that lunch is actually waiting outside. But before we go to lunch, and before I perhaps can open it up to the floor for one or two quick questions, perhaps I can stimulate the discussion, which can be continued at the breakout this way. Going digital means a lot of benefits, as clearly indicated by Pa Maher in his presentation and the expectations from PJB. What would be your advice to the audience here who still hesitant or not sure whether they should go on this digital journey now or later? What would be your 1, 2 top advice recommendations for the audience? Maybe I can start with Pa Henry, especially since PJB, as we know, is a state-owned, usually not always in the forefront of technology, but in this case, it seems that you and the PJB organizations have taken the jump. Perhaps you can share 1 or 2 quick points.
Thank you. We tried to cope our very fast growth from PGB. Actually, in the last 3 years, we only 7 generating unit. Suddenly, we become big, and then we can manage, but we want to sustain, improve. So we want to figure out some tools, some means that help us to can compete the growth, because we want with the growth a very big unit, a very big manpower, that we want to have a very direct expertise. So if we want to start from the beginning, it takes time. So at the beginning, should be this how your company growth, how you want to maintain or sustain your performance in the top level.
So the Gardner and the different other analysts are saying that 80% today of the chief technology officers, chief information officers, CEOs are looking at starting digitalization project. I think a few years ago, the value was not proven yet, or there was not enough projects or enough results yet. But today we are at the stage where in different areas of the economy, particularly in the energy sector. We have seen results. We personally, at GE, we have worked with different customers where, as I was showing, a lot of millions were saved. So you put $1, you can get $2 or $3. It's a very good business case.
Thank you. Perhaps from the audience, 1 or 2 questions. Going once, going twice? If not, then we can continue this discussion outside in the hallways and also during lunch and in the breakouts. Thank you for your presentations, your sharing, Pa Henry, Pa Maher. I hope the audience could take away a couple of good points from this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.